President Trump and Joe Biden sparring over mail-in ballots at the first presidential debate last night. And here to weigh in is his senior advisor to the Trump 2020 campaign and his daughter-in-law, Lara Trump. Hey, Lara.
Hey, Ainsley, great to be with you.
Good to see you. You know, I think every American feels the same way. We all deserve to be confident in our elections. And you're hearing them talk about this, but there's evidence when you look at what happened in Philadelphia yesterday, the president was talking about last night. 140,000 New Yorkers asked for absentee ballots, and they went to different addresses, wrong names, wrong addresses. So there's evidence that it can be problematic. What are your thoughts about this? I mean, you're on the Trump bus, you're touring the country. What are people saying about this?
Yeah, and look, it's a really scary thing. I think the president said it very clearly last night. Whenever you have an absentee ballot that you request that has to be validated in some way via a signature or an identification of some variety, that is safe. We have always had absentee voting in the United States of America, and that is how the president votes. The problem comes in whenever you have these universal mail-in ballots that are just sent out by the millions across the country. We've seen that people are getting double ballots. They're getting ballots for people that used to live at their address. Ballots are being sent to cats that have been dead for 12 years. I mean, these are legitimate things that have happened. We want to know that this election is free, fair, and every single American gets one vote. And so it's a very scary prospect to people, the idea that 90 days before a presidential election, the Democrats, knowing that on election night Donald Trump is going to win, are trying to change the game to help out their candidate. So I think that was very clearly put on display last night. You heard the president talk about it, but I'll tell you, you're right. I am out on our Bright Pink Women for Trump bus all over this country. People know that this is a problem, but that's why we keep telling people Donald Trump has to win by such an overwhelming margin of victory on November 3rd. They cannot dispute the results of this election, no matter how many dead cats are voting.
Lara, when I was watching our coverage last night, they showed some video of who was in the room. Not a lot of people. You were on our screens. And just curious, what was it like there in the room? Because I know a lot of people couldn't be there. What was your feeling?
Yeah, well, it was a very unusual debate. Obviously, I was lucky in 2016 to be able to attend so many of the debates that we had, and it was very different because there were so few of us there. It was a very quiet debate hall. Chris Wallace beforehand was very clear that he did not want us to clap in any manner. He didn't want any excitement of any variety from the audience. He wanted the people at home to be able to hear directly from the candidates. So it was a little bit different, but look, you could very clearly see, even from the audience on stage, Donald Trump dominated the entire debate. You could feel the energy that he had. You could feel, quite frankly, how it felt like Joe Biden was on defense. He couldn't really get his points out, couldn't articulate what he wanted to say in many cases. So it was a different debate that I think many of us have ever been to. But look, it was great to be there. We were there to support my father-in-law, and I'm very proud of his performance.
What did he say after the debate, the president?
I think he felt great. Look, this is a man, we all know Donald Trump to be a fighter, and he had to get out there and he had to fight because, unfortunately, Joe Biden was telling some very clear lies about him, about his positions on things, about the job he and his administration have done. The problem, I think, for Joe Biden is that on many points, people did not get answers at all from Joe Biden. He wouldn't say that he supported law and order. He couldn't name a single law enforcement group that supported him. He called Antifa an idea, which is terrifying when these people are just absolutely decimating cities all across America. He flip-flopped on the Green New Deal. And I thought the president had so many strong points, talked about what he's done for America. Joe Biden, as you heard the president say, hasn't done anything in 47 years. Donald Trump's done more in 47 months than Joe Biden in 47 years. So I think he felt great.
All right. Thanks so much, Lara, for being with us.
You got it. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.